Yeah, it feels like bareback with no earphones, bro.
Yeah, bareback.
Yeah, jeez. We're doing the show bareback.
That escalated.
Bareback and singlets.
Jeez.
Oh, sorry, I'm interrupting your workout. We're actually doing you a favor, getting more working. You ready, boy? Thank you so much.
Yeah, really.
So, hit us with the intro, boy. We had the same conversation
Young
every
Rocky.
week.
Let's go.
Bam! The sound of episode 50. One day.
One day.
It feels weird with my headphones, eh? I'm like lost.
Don's the closest we're gonna get to a Monster sponsorship.
Yeah, please
All
turn
your
canvas,
chummies that
Been there, done that, bro. Been there, done that.
Yeah. Big smile. What's happening?
You guys take that Monster sponsorship, though.
Yeah, we love it. We got 4 stickers once.
Is it?
Did you? You bastard.
I can't believe you haven't been approached by anyone yet. Salty, bro.
I think we... Well, according to some people online, we don't know what we're talking about, so...
Huh? Really?
Yeah, we waffle a lot.
I mean,
Try.
I mean-
But anyway, here we are, episode 50, with
Yeah.
the 2 OGs on South African MMA, Warren and...
I might be the laziest okay in the back, maybe.
You?
Yeah. I like train like once a week.
Are you coming
yo,
back?
now that you're a
Shame.
fucking professional brand, man. Yeah.
At least you're still training, boy.
Just
What's happening, man? Living the dream, man.
Just in my
powerful
singlet.
That's a powerful singlet. Wildcats.
Ready for whatever.
Yeah, so we should all get a Wildcats
Maybe we
tattoo.
don't know that is every day. Wait, that's
Smart casual. It's done smart casual.
It is. I still have my smart shoes on, my pointy shoes.
We listened to, I think it's Brennan Sharp's latest, they did episode 200, which was this week, and they were talking about John Danaher and GSP, and they're saying apparently like John Danaher went to one of his students' wedding, legit in a ration.
Oh yeah,
I read that.
He gives 0 fucks.
He's
Like
always.
ration jeans too.
I believe that. I believe
What a
that.
gangster.
I
What a
believe that.
gangster.
See, GSP's got all the hair now, eh?
GSP hair.
Yeah.
George GSP hair.
Joseph Pierre. I saw that. I was like, hey, stop. Don't do that.
Well, I guess the most pertinent questions that everyone wants to know from you guys is the whole Corona scenario, how that's been working out, difficulties you've been facing. I know like the guys been speaking about a lot about DC and Stipe's kind of camps, not having a full camp, and like not even just the camps, like the rituals before, you know, like the feast before the battle. I think DC was saying that normally like a crew of 50, this time they were a crew of 10 or 6 or whatever it was, and like a lot of things not being the same as they normally would be. I mean, obviously, when we had a fight lined up, what would you say has been like the hardest part to all of it, with training and stuff like that?
Just not having like any say or any control. It's kind of just like, okay, you guys are locked in your house and fuck you. Like that's pretty much all we're gonna tell you. And then fuck your jobs, fuck what you had planned for this year. You guys got to stay inside your house, and that's just the way it is. You know.
Yeah,
Like I think in America it's a little bit different because of like different states have different sort of like rules regarding COVID. So like guys can get away with shit like that, you know, like if you're in Texas or Arizona, Florida, they just train, bro. Like they like red states, right? Red states.
Yeah.
So like I actually had someone ask me the other day on Instagram, like, oh yeah, but I've seen Africans and Brazilians and stuff fighting. I'm like, yo, show me an African living in Africa that's fighting in the UFC now.
Well, no one can leave the country.
You can't leave.
So, like, what are you going to do?
And the only flights, I don't know if you've seen what a charter flight will cost. It's 300 and something thousand rand.
Oh,
Like, obviously,
And the US is gonna pay
Dana,
that.
please,
yeah.
I'm not even in the top 20 yet, but please buy me a 350,000 rand ticket to come fight and my coach.
And maybe 2 quarter-minute things we bring
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, you might as well.
Might as well.
Might as well.
Go all the way.
I know, but it's like, I think the worst part is just not having any, like, say. No control, like, nothing to do. Like, you just kind of just sit and do what you need. I mean, fuck, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you and right.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Bullshit, dude.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everyone else seems to be getting richer. Like all the corporations, all the guys that own big businesses seem to be getting fucking super wealthy.
Yeah.
Do you think like, is there a kind of feeling, Rich? Maybe you can also jump in. I know, like you're very. What happens here is always, I mean, we said it a few times, quite unique. Is that every fighter under your wing is getting very personalized attention as opposed to like being amongst the mix in ATT or like these massive camps. You've got this bond between yourself and Don that it's probably a little bit different between, let's say, some other dude on the mat at ATT or something like that. Do you start to stress about these guys overseas they've been training for longer, they've been getting fights, they're getting access to all of this kind of stuff? Like, do you worry about your athletes? Is there like an extra bit of push to say, guys, you know, we actually have to work harder here. We've got to step up here because by the time we get back in the mix, maybe this dude's had another 3-4 fights. You know what I mean?
I think our training regime is perfect now. Like, I don't believe in the big camps anymore. And if you start looking at like deep into actual top 10 guys, they might be with a top 10 camp, but they're actually not training in that camp. They have their own little crew, they've got a small group of guys, they're doing their thing. So right now, I'd rather have 2-3 top guys, just work with them, and that's kind of it, you know. Make it personalized, understand what the training needs are, work around that. For me, that's way better than having this 20, 30, 40, 50 guys on the mat. There's no program, there's no understanding of the fight. It's kind of just fight every day. And it's not for a fighter in terms of improving their hardware and software. And yeah, I'm totally gone other way in terms of smaller camps, and him not competing, it doesn't actually like really matter. Like, we've had more time now to understand him more in terms of Don, how he likes to train, what he needs to do, you know, how his body works, all of that type of stuff. So like, there's obviously a lot of negatives you can take out of something, but there's a lot of positives you can take out of it. It depends on how you look at things. So for me and him, I think, especially for him as well now, like, we understand things better now. So we're not going to do this more, we're going to do that more, you know. We've taken out things, added in things. It's just more understanding of the particular individual. I mean, you look at who's the guy that makes the pads? What's his name again?
Trevor Whitman.
And he works with like 2-3 guys.
Yeah.
Top high level guys.
Yeah. And they have like one training partner each. So I know like Gaethje and Drew Dover are like each other's training partners.
Yeah.
And you got like Rose, and she has that other.
She's got like one
She's got one other training partner. And they all just have like one person that. You know how it is, bro. Like, you come on the mat, now I gotta fight. I train with the oak that like don't train with all the time.
Yeah.
I get injured, and now I can't fucking fight. Now I lose other things. But if I train with the same guy every day, and like the thing is, like, everyone says, oh, but you need like, if you want to be in the top 10, you gotta train with guys in the top 10. It's like, no. If you want to be in the top 10, you gotta put yourself in scenarios that would happen in the top 10.
It.
So you can be put in a scenario with an amateur and still get the same results as you would if you were put in that same scenario with anyone else, because it's a shitty scenario, so you still got to work out of it, you know. And I think the whole concept of ring rust is like crazy, because my debut in the UFC, I hadn't fought for a year and 8 months. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's different if you're not fighting for a year, but you're sitting on the fucking couch.
Yeah.
But if you're here, I'm here every single day, 3 times a day, all the time. Like, there's no, like, I fight every day, basically, except in a controlled environment, yeah. So
And
like,
you don't have like a problem like clicking on. I think the guys with the ring rust, they have a problem like clicking into that.
Yeah.
You also got to understand like the individual, like his history. What's his history? So that clicks into what we're talking about. It's different if you're talking about like an amateur that's just become pro now, and he's like fresh off the bat. And we're talking about 2 different things. But his history of how many Muay Thai fights he's had, the traveling, the spar, the how many hours and days and years he's done sparring already, like, those boxes are already been ticked, you know what I mean? Like, you look, my perfect example is like Dimitri Johnson. Who does he train with?
Yeah.
That guy is one of the greatest mixed martial arts in the world.
Yeah.
Okay? Who's his sparring
yeah.
partners?
Who's John Jones' main
Fabiano
sparring partner?
That's it.
Do you know his name? No. Do you know Conor McGregor's main sparring partner?
He's an amateur.
He's an amateur. There's a guy that came here from Lambu or whatever.
Yeah.
He came to train. He's one of Conor McGregor's boxing boxing partner,
Yeah.
sparring partner.
For Mayweather's fight, it was his main sparring partner.
And dude, he got fucking handled on these mats, bro. Like no bad blood to fucking France, but he got handled on our mats. Like that's just the reality.
Yeah,
but
he's
it's one of Connor's main sparring partners.
And he's a top Bellator fighter.
And he's a top,
amazing.
exactly.
Yeah.
But he played his role in Connor's
Exactly.
camp.
If you put guys in scenarios, you know, like if for instance, like you're a great leg lock guy. So if I'm finding a leg lock guy, I put myself in leg locks every single day,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna work out of those scenarios every single day,
Yeah.
all day, every day. It doesn't really matter like what happens after the leg lock or whatever. But I've drilled that so much now that it's never gonna be a problem in the thing.
System, a program, putting yourself in the. It's like Connor's last fight. We're in the US. We watched the
Yeah.
fight with Cerrone.
Yeah.
I mean, who was in his camp? It was all amateur guys.
Amateur boxing coach.
That's it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So it's really understanding the fighter and this whole like, oh, you need top 10 guys to train with your main guy. But then egos get involved.
Sure.
Then the injuries start, and then there's the bitching and the fighting and the who wants to be better. And instead of just going, this is a top fighter, have his crew. This is a top fighter, have his crew. This is a top fighter, have his crew. But you can only do that 2-3 guys. Anything more than that, then it just starts becoming problems.
Yeah.
You know, only guy that I know that kind of has got it right in a way is Henry Roof. You know, he's
Yeah.
got a great camp with multiple champions, a lot of guys on the mat, but they all kind of work together.
But certain guys don't. So like then if you watch, because I watch all of his videos all the time and I check out his like the drills and stuff that they're doing, and like you always see Usman and Burns together before like they're scheduled to fight each other. You always see Michael Chandler and that other wrestler, other thick wrestler. Like it's always the same
dudes,
guys
yeah.
that are training with each other
You have
because
your-
they understand.
you have your group.
Exactly, but they've got a good head coach. You see, so like the head coach gives them instructions to do,
Instructions, yeah.
and then
They
they can
follow
carry it
that.
out on someone that's going to give them good feedback.
Yeah. I think Henry learned that. I don't know if you guys remember, like there was all those videos of Usman and the other guy,
Or someone going hard.
and they're always fucking each other up. Like
Yeah.
every time they
Even
spot each
Michael
other.
Johnson, dude,
Yeah, it was
that's
Michael
Yeah,
Johnson.
Michael Johnson. Yeah,
There's
yeah,
like
yeah.
10 videos of them fucking each other up.
Yeah.
But I think they learned like those certain guys just can't train with each other.
No,
so
no.
they're like,
But certain guys can't train each other, but then there's certain guys that can do that every day with each other because they have this
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
respect. That's just how they do it. But
Yeah.
once they're off the mat, it's like normal.
Yeah.
You understand? Like there's some guys that can just like absolutely destroy each other on the mat, and it's okay. So it
Yeah.
really is a personality thing.
I always like to get separated every time. So that was like a little bit.
But then I've seen them when we're at Henry, I've seen them like at the gym, and they're like us.
But you see, the problem
Yeah.
is that like then so like they're doing that, and you would assume that that's so good, but then Michael Johnson's shit.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I think Usman's amazing. Obviously, he's the champ, but he's going against Usman, and they're having like wars. So you would think he's the same level as Usman,
But he's
but
not,
then he
no.
fights fucking Stevie Ray and gets hammered.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like what? So there goes that point completely. Because he's training with the best guy in the world, and he's not getting better.
Yeah.
Because he's not getting any direction, because they're just going.
It's difficult to grow when you're going up against the best guys all the time, right? Because you're just
Exactly.
trying to survive.
Yeah.
You're just
Exactly.
Like, fuck, if I make a mistake, then, there's a problem, I'm going to get caught.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you go, like, a little bit lesser guy sometimes, and you can, like, play around and, like, try and...
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
confidence.
It's not
thing.
it's not playing around. It's applying techniques consistently
Yeah.
with a certain resistance. You understand me? It's like John always talks about, like training with 80% of like guys just under you, and then 20% of guys that are on your level or above.
Yeah.
So you're getting that like understanding of good training and applying your systems the whole time against an opponent that's resisting just enough that if you make the wrong mistake, the technique's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing, and that's why like that type of having that your nucleus of like 3-4 guys that you can train with, go hard, but no fucking ego and no injuries is a massive thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like like if you roll with like a blue belt, like blue belt's not a roll, right?
Yeah.
Some of them.
Blue belt's not a
bit of a broad statement.
blue belt's not a roll, bro. But now like let's say like I'm working on guillotine, for instance. Now I roll with the blue belt. What do you think I'm gonna practice? I'm just gonna hit guillotines. So he knows enough to defend himself and like maybe escape the position.
Again, broad statement, but
But I'm just working on something specific, so I'm getting like enough resistance.
Yeah.
Even though it's not the best. But then if I go against like Richie, I'm just trying to do whatever the fuck is gonna work. Do you know what I mean? So like whatever's gonna work in that thing. So then that becomes more like a fight, you know, as opposed to me trying to improve.
But I think, bro, like 90% of people get on the mat with no plan.
Yes,
That's the biggest.
that's the problem.
No plan.
90%
No
of
plan,
people,
plan.
they're on with no actual idea of what they just. I'm gonna fight. I'm
Most-
gonna wrestle. I'm gonna
Well,
grapple.
that's the thing. It's like most guys, they come into their professional MMA career with no fucking plan. So they're like, become a professional
100%.
fighter. They have no idea. Like, okay, I want to do this before this time.
Yeah.
I want to do this before this time, and like set themselves little goals. No one does that. Everyone's just like, okay, I'm gonna get a fight. Thank you for the fight. Then you get the fight, and then afterwards you're like, can I have another fight? Oh, thank you for the fight. But there's no like plan. There's no like, oh,
I remember
no path.
I was in Durban and this one dude turned pro, and Venzel got the fight offer, and it was BK.
Oh,
I
wow.
said to him, I was like, Venzel, you can't let him fight, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
this
yeah.
This guy's barely winning amateur fights. It's like 50% win-loss ratio in amateurs. Now you're gonna fight BK.
The best
He's like,
wrestler in the
no,
country."
but you must be able to fight everyone. I was like, you don't want to fight BK though. Like, this is your debut. Like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, no, he'll be fine. What did BK do? Lifted him, dumped him.
Oh, that kid. Yeah.
Because he had just moved to Durban.
Yeah, it is.
We had just been watching BK at like 5 stars.
Breaking guys' ribs with
Yeah, bro, just
suplexes.
fucking on
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Then we go there. We had just trained with this guy, and then Vince is like, "Yeah, he's got a big fight coming out. He's training for his fighting BK." Turns around.
No, I was like,
That's a bad idea.
said to Vince, you can't let him do that, dude.
No.
Like, you honestly can't let him do that. He's like, man, you're fine. If you're gonna be a pro, you must be able to fight everyone from the bottom to the top. I was like, yeah, in time you can build yourself there.
Yeah.
Like, relax.
So you see, that's like a super old like mentality
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like, oh, I fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. Fucking, I'm hard.
Even
you
in
know,
the parking lot.
I fight them wherever.
Hard
Which,
Eddie.
but Oak, you think Conor McGregor went into the UFC with that plan?
Oh,
He had the softest opponents ever to get to the title. Like, yeah, he fought Dustin Poirier, but at featherweight. Yeah, he fought Max Holloway, but it was before
Yeah,
Max
also,
Holloway was
yeah,
Max
before-
Holloway.
yeah.
You know, like he fought all these guys. Then he fought Dennis Seaver, Diego Brandao, and that fucking Marcus Brimage, bro. Like
yes, you fuck
to the title fight, to the title.
Look at Sugar.
Sugar Sean gets one guy that can actually fight. What happened? Oh, my ankle. Fuck. Same, bro. Didn't fight anyone,
Oh,
bro.
he
dare
did fight
How dare
Augusto
you.
Mendes though, but he fought him on like 2 weeks' notice.
Exactly. So it's like fighting Chad Mendes on 2 weeks' notice.
A
Same
lot
story.
of these guys get like, and it's smart. They have a good
Yeah.
trainer, good management team, and they can. The first 3, 4, 5 fights are like testers, and then they get the hard
Yeah.
fight. And hey, if you can do that and you're smart, that's what Don was saying. Have a plan.
I also think there's no like once you're in the UFC, there's no there's stylistically more suitable fights.
Yeah,
but there's no easy fight.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like obviously you're gonna look at a lot of guys. You look at Sean O'Malley, for example, like he's being padded, and I think he's one of the rare cases where he really is being
obvious.
padded.
It's
you know
like
what I mean?
so obvious.
It's the first time we've actually ever really seen it. But I
They
think
try to
it's
do it
just
with
like-
Sage, bro.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like that. It's like that
Definitely.
real starvation for star power now. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like, okay, cool, we've adopted a new business model. We don't really care about
Skill.
Yeah, we don't really care about too many big pay-per-view numbers. We're gonna get paid, but if we have like younger sort of star power that's going to bring new eyeballs, it's going to be better.
Right.
Like Sage, like Van
From a,
Zandt.
from a business
Sean
point of view,
O'Malley.
it's smart.
Very smart.
It is, but you know the X factor in success in MMA is winning.
Yeah,
Because if
of
you're not
course.
winning, nobody gives a fuck.
No.
Nobody gives a fuck.
No.
And that's the scenario. Like it's,
100%.
you
But
have to be winning.
If the
And
guy's
you're gonna
winning
talk,
but can't speak English and you can't promote him, it's bad for business.
that's why it's the X factor.
Yeah.
That's why it's the X factor. The X factor is very simple. Everyone's like, oh, what is the X factor? I'm like, you got to win and you got to talk. That's how it is.
Bro, why do you think it took so long for Khabib to get the title shot, bro?
100%, dude.
That guy's the X factor. That
But it's
guy was
also-
smashing
yeah, yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
But see, he's a guy also
But
doesn't
he's
talk
not-
shit.
he's not selling.
He doesn't
That's
talk
the
shit, but his skills, how do you beat him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like no one's come close to. But then you look at like a guy like Tony Ferguson,
Yeah.
who's had probably the hardest route to the title. The overseas sports is like Jesus, dude. The hardest, literally the hardest route to the title, and he's got the skills. He can talk some mad shit, but they don't like. He doesn't get promoted because for
Dustin
whatever
Poirier
reason.
was the same.
Same story. Also, like that looks for everyone.
everyone.
Hard
And
fights.
they're like, cool, okay, you two guys can fight each other now.
Yeah.
You can figure it out. from
Yeah,
there.
and then whoever wins that, then we'll throw you guys a bone, you know?
We'll see what happens. Yeah, it is quite crazy. The other thing I wanted to say is like, people keep, I mean, obviously there's this thirst from South African fans to see you in particular. And it's a lot of questions. Everyone's like, oh, when is Don's fight? I'm like,
also think like people don't understand that in MMA, especially, a year is not actually all that long. Like it's not, you haven't been sidelined for a lifetime. You know what I mean? It's like, obviously we would have seen you in action if it wasn't for COVID. Like there's obviously expanded, but still, regardless.
Yeah, we were about to sign something like 2 days before lockdown. We were we didn't say anything about it, but we were just negotiating.
And you got offered in lockdown?
And I got offered in lockdown as well, but obviously couldn't leave the country. I got offered a Fight Island. The first one, yeah. But I couldn't leave the country, so.
So what is the status now? Like leaving the country is just not an option until further notice.
Until the end of the year, apparently. I don't know.
So
Someone was saying,
it's going to be earlier.
Someone was saying that you can get to Yas Island. They opened the flights up for another.
So we looked at it. It did look like there was maybe a possibility there. The problem is coming back.
Yeah.
I think getting there is okay, as we know. The problem is coming back. For one, I mean, you know someone very well who had to go through quarantine coming back. It's not a great scenario. It's you don't know what you're going to be in for. You don't really know how fucking long you're going to be there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And
and that's always the problem. Like when see, I think everyone around, even people in South Africa, forget that this is Africa. Things operate here differently to the rest of the world. And if people start understanding that, then they understand our scenario. Yeah, you can go, but then when you come back, they put you in there for a month. And then if they think you have COVID, or maybe you've had COVID and you have the antibodies in you, because there's no antibody tests, only COVID tests, then it's oh, you got COVID, now we've got to keep you here, we've got to do more tests on you, and then put you in a fucking hospital, I don't know.
No, it's 100%.
Really, that's not at all, that doesn't sound like I want to do that at all.
I also know people that they overseas, they're just not coming back.
Yeah.
They're just I don't know what's going to happen in my life. I just don't know. And there's no way to communicate. So
and if we go over, our government decides they're going to have a little hissy fit again. Now we're stuck on that.
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
what?
That's also true.
Now what?
And not going to put the bill for that.
No.
It's just make
No.
it.
And then we just got to sit there and pay, and
Well, look at Clint Walters. He left. Then
3
he's
months.
going to come back
Nearly
in 3
4
weeks.
months.
More, I think.
He's still there.
bro, just spending your money, bro.
I think he's been there 6 months.
Spending your money, bro.
He's been there since March.
And no one cares. And you think anyone's going to pay him the money back?
No, boo.
Yeah. You see, so I always said from the start of my career, I'll never fight just for money.
Yeah.
Ever, because I've done that, and that's cuck. I'll never fight just for money, and I'll never fight if it's a loss. Because I like fighting, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So maybe not being able to get back into my own country and then getting fucking harassed by the government sounds like a loss.
Yeah.
Fuck that. That sounds like a loss. I don't want to do that. Again, the reality is I don't need money.
Yeah.
I don't fight because I need to get money. I fight because I enjoy fighting and I like it and I want to get to the top.
But that's the secret for the recipe for success.
Exactly. I'm not fighting out of desperation because I'm please, I need money. There's other ways to make money.
So
How many guys take the fights because of that?
That shouldn't take the fight. Robbie Lawler, bro. He didn't want to fight that last fight. Bro, he didn't want to fight that fight.
It wasn't a good fight for him.
That wasn't Robbie, dude. And he knew it wasn't a good fight for him, too. So he was
Neil Magny
have
was
to
the
be
king
here.
of grinding out
Yeah,
of
dude.
bro.
Yeah.
That was a 7-5 win streak, just grinding out of wins.
He has he's just under GSP for the most wins of
he's got
welterweight.
2 wins to go.
17 wins, bro.
So how let's say 15th of September they announce, okay, 1st of November the international borders are going to open, just as a scenario. How fast could you turn around to be fight ready, and what's the kind of communication? Is it are the UFC? I mean, obviously they're also they're still in a bit of a weird position. They're putting on shows, things are happening, but you see, look at last weekend, fights are just dropping, things are happening. So there's this need for a mass pool of fighters. So obviously, do you feel like they're being quite understanding? Say,
Yes.
you're being offered fights, and you're look, guys, the scenario is political. You know what I mean?
I speak to my manager all the time, and he watches the news, bro.
Yeah.
So he watches South African news, and he's I can see that shit's fucking hectic there. You guys are trapped.
Yeah,
we know.
take a
And he
genius.
says he's experiencing the exact same problem with guys in Asia because he has a lot of Asian, and so Asia's locked down just like us. You can't go in or out. So there's all the Chinese fighters that are in Asia can't fight because it's the exact same as South Africa. So it's they understand because it's not just me, it's a bunch of guys that are also trapped in there.
That's why there's so many new contracts.
That's exactly why so many guys are getting signed now, because they need guys, and they have actually been really understanding. I mean, like, how can they not be? You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
Sure.
what do we do?
You just sometimes. I mean, I think it's a South African thing where you kind of always like stressing. You know what I mean? Like, do they understand the landscape? You know, because it's not. I think from what I understand, there were the possibility of other guys from here being offered fights on Fight Island as well. You know what I mean? And also debut opportunities. So it's like I'm just hoping that on the other end, guys are quite conscious of what's going on. It's not just like a fighter turning down opportunities and stuff like that.
No, they know.
Choice.
They know what's going on. Like, I mean, I literally had like,
rock not to know what's going on.
yeah, exactly, dude, exactly.
But you know, sometimes when you're in a place like the States, you can be not. I want to say naive, but it's not really the right word. Let's say like semi-naive, like half naive, if there's such a thing. Like you'd be like, well, we've got fighters here that are making plans and Brazilians and XYZ. Like, why can't you, kind of thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's obviously always a concern.
Really,
I mean,
like,
it
if-
doesn't take a lot to figure out.
If me and Rich could go to California now and go put in a camp, then yeah, sweet. I'll take a fight at the Apex. I'll take a fight at fucking Yas Island, wherever.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen. So like the reality is like while we're here and while shit's like locked down, like it's kind of just a waiting
The
game.
biggest thing is next upcoming fighters are Chinese. Where they?
Yeah.
The champion, the female champions are Chinese.
And also like guys
they're all
guys
locked.
tend to forget. Like guys, everyone forgets. Like Habib, he's been in the UFC for 10 years. You know, he fights out in the UFC.
Yeah.
How many?
Yeah. Like,
He's had
12.
He's had 11.
Yeah.
He's had 11 fights in 10 years.
It's not a lot, dude.
But he's fucking unstoppable. Like no one's even come close to stopping him.
yeah.
So like guys like also they look at like Style Ben who fights 4 times or 5 times in a year, and then they look at like who's this other that's just fought now, that Khamzat.
Yeah.
Kimaev.
They look at these guys and it's like, yeah, because there's no one else to fight, so they're getting opportunities to like go, you know. So obviously, if you're sitting in Sweden and you're in shape and you fucking just come off a camp and they offer you another fight, you're like, yeah, sweet, let's do
You
it.
finish the fight in like 2
Was
minutes.
he like
no
still in
damage.
Abu Dhabi? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, he hadn't even
Like,
left.
just
So
carry
he
on.
was like, literally, he had already done a camp. So it's like, cool, I'll just take this fight anyway. Like, he's short notice, I'm short notice, who cares? You know, let's take it. That's a whole different story. Like,
Yeah, it is. But that's what I was saying. Like, that's why I wanted to just bring up that point that people also need to remember that a year in terms of MMA, or even 18 months to 2 years, is not actually all that long.
No.
Like, this is what happens. Like, guys get injured. Like, look at guys like, I want to say, look at guys, I can't think of anybody's name. Like,
Bro.
Tom Cruise, for example.
forget about MMA. Look at boxing. Canelo, how often does he fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Twice
Once
a year.
every 2
He
years?
fights twice a year.
If that. When was
Dude,
his last fight?
So he always fights on that
Yeah, 38 million. Who gives a
Cinco
fuck,
de
right?
Mayo or whatever.
One fight.
And then he fights on Mexican Independence Day.
If he gets an
That's
opponent.
what- yeah, that's
If
what
there's a
he
guy
fights,
that'll match up with him. And Anthony Joshua, when was the last time he fought? Yeah, it was like 7 months ago. When's his next fight?
Yeah.
You don't
I
know.
agree, dude.
So like, and guys don't like look at other sports like that. They don't go look at like baseball. Okay, guy gets injured for 2 years, he comes back, he fucking still has that arm.
Yeah.
Like it's. People are like, oh, ring rust. It's like, no, it's ring rust if you're sitting on your fucking ass all day and doing nothing.
And it's ring rust also if it's in your head.
Yeah, exactly.
You think there's ring rust. there's
Make
ring
it a
rust,
big-
right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's just they don't understand how to turn it on anymore.
Exactly.
So
The thing is like I understand like people want to see their fighters fight, like
Yeah.
absolutely, and if I could fight 4 times a year I would, you know, but it doesn't always work like that. You get injuries, you get fucking this, you get that, you get like visa issues, you get it's just like so many things that
life,
like
bro.
life, exactly, life happens, bro.
So
and like,
there was a we spoke in the early hours of in the early stages of lockdown, and you were quite like not anti, but you weren't really excited by the fact of fighting for no fans and all this kind of stuff. Is your mindset still the same, or you feel a bit different now?
No,
Like,
actually,
okay, fuck, I
now
wanna
watching
get
it a
on
bit,
with
it's actually made it like quite nice.
Yeah,
It's like fighting in a gym. It's cool. Like I
And
dig it.
it
You can
seems-
hear your coach.
It seems like the fights are more intense for whatever reason. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's just because of the sounds, like you're
Yeah,
more
that's-
dialed in, or what it is. But it's like, I
isn't
mean,
it also that cage size though?
we always we always cage side, and you're like, you do dial in a lot more than TV, but somehow this is transferring, like, and it's doing fucking really well.
Yeah.
Like the product is still amazing. Like guys are still showing up. The fights, like I said, almost seems like guys are more galvanized. They're like, well, fuck, you know, there's nobody here, so I have to maybe make more impact for the TV, so the fans are still getting what they
Also,
want.
guys are not as nervous.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
that big crowd. And
That's a big factor.
People think that, oh, that's not a factor. Hey,
It's a
that's
huge
That's a great
factor.
point.
When I was fighting, like that was like the thing that made me not want to fight. Like I didn't want to fight in front of people.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I didn't want to go. I'd rather just do it in the gym, like whatever. Right?
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
like having people watch me do this thing.
So now's the perfect time for your comeback.
Yeah, but
Problem solved.
but like some people don't like fans. Like don't like the pressure of having people watch them. Dude.
Well, bro, like
Yeah.
a really good example is like if you take two of the best fighters in the world and make them fight in a cage in front of thousands of people, and then you make them fight in a closed door lock, just them.
Yeah.
Two different fights. I can
100%
guarantee you those are two different fights.
Guaranteed, dude.
Because you often, we were just talking about this earlier, about guys in the gym are monsters. There's guys in the gym that are monsters. And you put them in a cage, they become little, like, fucking mice,
sure.
And it's just like,
It's that pressure.
yeah.
I think that's also, Connor always speaks about that. It's like when those lights and the pressure's really coming down on you, that's when you're really going to see who you
Yeah,
are.
absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
It's a very different situation.
And I've always said that, like, when I know that it's a fucking hard fight, or like it's a big stakes, and I fight better. When I know it's a guy that like is shit, or like I think he's shit, so I can beat him, then I'm like,
Perfect
whatever.
example was your first fight against T. Edwards, bro.
Yeah. I knew the risks. I knew, like, obviously there's big risks, and also like you're a debut guy from South Africa.
Yeah.
Like
Built
fighting
that guy out.
fighting the contender
I
guy.
think the bookies had you at like,
No, 500 plus
yeah,
500.
something crazy.
Crazy.
Like, crazy.
Even the lead up to that fight when we tuned in live, it was like 1 second of Don.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Muay Thai fighter.
Just 2
Yeah,
minutes of
the South African,
We were talking
Thai
about
fighter.
it when we were there. It's
Yeah.
like, Don didn't get any coverage, and I just told this guy, I'm like, yeah, they're building this guy. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah.
It's
But
fine.
see, so like
But
that.
that was sorry, there was like the greatest thing because it was just like it's like someone just gave them notes. Oh, yeah, this guy he was in Thailand for a while. He's a Thai fighter.
Yeah.
And then the second went to the ground, everyone was like, "Fuck, hang on."
Yeah.
What's going on?
Was good, like directed.
Yeah.
But even like after your fight, you got given Dennis Bermudez.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they knew Dennis was on his way out. And I think
Yeah.
they wanted him to knock
Retirement.
him out
Yeah.
to get him back on the track.
Yeah.
But it didn't quite work out.
Yeah,
but
well,
he took him 3 rounds though, bro.
3 rounds.
Three
He
rounds.
fucking knocked him out in 2, bro.
Yeah. Well, one technically. It was like 12 seconds of the.
And the first round, you still knocked him down.
Yeah.
The left
Yeah,
hand.
yeah.
How
No,
did Oak's fucking arm didn't come off?
I'm telling you, it tapped. If you slow that video down, there's a tap. Obviously, got to break the arm.
Yeah.
Rich, is this a conspiracy theory?
Look into it, bro. Look into it.
But it's better. The end
It's
result
better,
is better.
yeah. It's always better
The
to
head
get the
kick
knockout.
There's no fucking better way.
Jesus,
50 G's always helps, bro. That always helps.
goes a long way.
That
in
always
Africa,
helps, bro. Yeah. It does, bro. Like, and that's like
That's the only benefit of being in Africa.
100%. Well, like, exactly.
Is to earning dollars and live in South Africa. That is
Yeah,
the
dude.
ultimate, bro.
Exactly.
How hard has it been? I see you picked up a sponsor, and this is something I'm always watching, like the best guys on how they're handling stuff and how sponsors are reacting. In a time like this, what sort of feedback have you been getting from sponsors?
Well, like I only work with like a few brands, and it's like guys that I can get along with on like a personal level, and it's not just a business deal because like it is like if we do a business deal and we don't get along, now that fucks the business deal up.
Yeah.
So like I always like do stuff with guys that I know I can like sit and have a conversation with, so that if any like issues come up, I can pick up the phone and be like, hey, listen, dude, like this is the situation. We can actually have a conversation.
Sure.
But if I don't like the guy, like then there's never going to be a conversation. There's never going to be. It's just going to be fuck you, peace out. And I've been very very fortunate enough to get a very good sponsor through this lockdown with cosmetic surgeon.
Yeah.
But again, the guy who owns it, John, he's an ex-SA archer. So like he understands how hard it is in South Africa to get sponsorship and get people to back you. So like he sympathizes with me in like the difficulty, because again I've been in the UFC for over 2 years. Well, yeah, over 2 years now, and that's the first new sponsor.
Yeah, that's actually what made me
You know
think
what I
about
mean?
it. Was that was like I haven't seen like you, for example, or like post about a new sponsor in quite some time.
Yeah.
And then I started
Welcome to
wondering.
Africa.
Yeah,
I know that struggle, but
He's
it's
got
like,
more. It's sad to say he has more support in California.
Yeah.
He has here. It's absolutely insane. When Waz and I went
Yeah,
with
it's
this
mad.
guy.
What do you think that is, Rich? Why do you think like the corporate world, for example, is not clicking over in South Africa?
Okay, the US baseball team, high school baseball team, sponsored by Get Aid,
Yeah.
Nike, Under Armour, we that have here for our high school teams. We are
Adidas, maybe.
we're not a sponsoring nation. We're not.
Yeah.
We're not a sponsoring nation. And also here a sponsor, it's like, hey Don, you UFC, you're the only undefeated African in the UFC. Have a few T-shirts.
Yeah.
T-shirt doesn't pay the bills, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
T-shirt's not gonna
Like,
help you
that's
recover,
what
though.
here in South Africa people are like,
Yeah.
oh, we'll give you some product and then you will make us money.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, we'll give you cash to support you
Yeah.
and grow you because then you will grow us financially as well. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I've been trying to think about this for years now.
Yeah.
So this
So
is
honestly, like if I moved to California tomorrow, I'd be making more money off sponsorship than I've ever made in South Africa. Ever.
well, just think about it like this, right? How long were we in California? 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You made more money in 3 weeks in sponsors
Yeah.
than you made your entire time out of
Exactly.
California.
Exactly.
But I think
Which
the
is
big-
wild, right?
It's crazy.
It's fucking
bro.
wild.
I saw it
It's
firsthand.
insane.
I
It's
saw it
wild.
firsthand. Like, but I think what's the problem in South Africa is that businesses aren't incentivized to sponsor people, right? Like there's no major tax benefit from it, right?
I mean, it depends. Some companies, but
No, there is because it's the tax write-off.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but is it as big as in America? Like,
But the problem
I don't
is that
think
the
that's
big
the-
companies here don't give a fuck about MMA.
yeah.
But why is that? This is
Exactly.
This
That's
is the
the
question
problem.
I've got to answer. Like, I mean, the EFC's kind of done their part. They've produced in terms of advertising for a sponsor. They've produced this like massive platform for any sort of company that's sponsoring.
Yes
But
and
the
no.
guys go about it the wrong way because they're like, I'm gonna put your name on my shorts.
Yeah.
Like nobody's gonna fucking see that.
Yeah.
Like nobody's gonna see that logo on your shorts.
but
on
Has
TV,
to be
you know what
digital,
I'm saying?
bro.
Like,
Has to be digital.
yeah, it has to be. It has to convert. So that's what I was trying to explain to like some guys that like once in a while a guy will ask me like, how do we do this? Like, how do we give back to the sponsor? I'm like, dude, like I said, the same thing. That logo on your shorts means jack shit.
Yeah.
Because nobody's gonna fucking see it, and nobody's gonna be like, oh, check, Don's got fucking Warren's fish and chips on his shorts.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And go fucking Google it. It's
Yeah.
not gonna work.
No.
So you have to, in this day and age, in my opinion, you have to have the social media following to back that up, because that's where you're going to push it up. When people are going to see you, you become the brand. You are the brand. And what's people are going to come to see you. People are not going to, they're going to watch you fight and be like, who the fuck is this one? Not where's Warren's fish and chips. Understand what I'm saying? And then you've got to convert that back to you.
Yes.
You got to make that.
Then they go onto
worthwhile.
social media and they see, oh,
100%.
he's sponsored by this guy and he's
100%.
promoting this product or whatever.
My big thing is, I mean, like, I've been in the liquor industry most of my life. You see guys like, you know how hard it is for a beer company like Modelo, which I would guess probably has some sort of ties to Dana. There must be something going on there. For a single brand, like a beer brand, to have the sort of ammo to throw what those guys are throwing, it's very unique. But then you take a company like AB InBev, like we saw Bud Light. Bud Light was UFC for fucking how long?
Forever.
Brands like Castle locally have been involved in sport their entire history. Why is that not converted?
Well, this is
That's-
a perfect example.
this is
So
what I'm trying
you
to
own a bar, right? I have a friend that owns a bar now. There's a wall, maybe 8-meter wall. Red Bull will come in, pay for
Yeah,
that space 250,000 rand.
Yeah, easy.
For a wall. Now you've got a brand, a guy that's doing something for the country, can promote your brand in terms of brand on brand. How is a brand not looking at that and going, well, I'll give
Yeah,
you
it's very
500,000 or
confusing,
200,000 to you because you're fighting in the UFC, but we'll brand a war for 200.
But you know,
Like,
I think-
that makes no sense to me.
So going back to what you're saying about like the EFC, so like as much as they have done that, I also think they've also fucked it because they'll show like a guy who shouldn't be fighting a professional MMA fight, very bad. He'll win the fight, then he'll get on the mic and can't speak English, and then sponsors will look at this and be like, oh, that's MMA in South Africa. So the problem is like if I'm a businessman and I've sat at the EFC next to businessmen, big businessmen that have like got invited tickets and stuff. We were watching fights, and the guy's like, the guy sitting next to me will be like, this guy's so shit. Like, how is this guy? I look like I can beat him, you know? And then he gets on the mic and talks, and then you're like, okay, but now that's a guy I'm a sponsor. And they look at that and they're like, I can't sponsor someone that can't speak English. But then the problem is like, you know how it is, people box everyone into the same category. So MMA, you're in that category. You can't speak, you're brainless, and you can't fight. And like, you can barely do your sport, you know? So I tell someone I'm an MMA fighter and they're like, oh, like the UFC. And then they're like, oh, have you heard of fucking so-and-so?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
have you heard of Israel Adesanya?
I'm just like, oh God, please. You know? And then they box you into that same category. They'll box you into the same category. They'll like pick some like
No, it's
fucking
true.
doers that they saw fighting in the UFC that like can't fight, and then they'll be like, oh, like that guy. And I'm like, yeah, it's just like that guy, bro.
On top of that, like, and I thought long and hard about the UFC deal with Supersport. And
Yeah.
obviously, like, you guys have all been watching for a long time. You remember what it was like. You had a dial-up connection. Someone had some sort of cage fighting on a disc or whatever.
Rumor flea market.
Dude,
DVDs.
it was like strange, and then you were like, I remember scrambling to. I had another satellite so I could get Fox, so I could fucking watch it.
Pirate
there,
Bay,
but then it's pirate and it's all this shit going on. Now you got it on Supersport, and you're like, okay, well, fuck, this is a perfect situation. But at the same time, exactly what you're saying, then guys that are, because that's what's in their face, they're watching Supersport. You know what I mean? They're like clicking over to the UFC, especially now with what's been going on. You've got nothing else to watch, and you're like, but hang on. If I go to this channel and EFC's on and I'm looking at this, these are two very different things.
Yeah.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
like, well, obviously South Africa fucking way behind.
That's it. So that's what you
it is-
compare it to.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's for the UFC as well, right?
Yeah.
Is that they find these
Kings,
like
dude.
promotable individuals and they just push them. Right? They're like immediately on the main card and they're like just keep pushing them, give them as much mic time, as much like
Absolutely, dude.
engaged time.
They are so good at converting a casual fan. It's actually unbelievable.
Yes.
You know, someone the other day, like after O'Malley Vera, and I mean, I think we even forfeit because in my head I was like, I should be picking. I mean, we did the picks, and I was like, I should be picking Vera. I think Richie's right. I think he's gonna get it right. But in your head, you're like, oh, but you know, fuck, whatever.
Yeah,
so
you buy the hype.
you go with O'Malley. I mean, even if you like sort of know what's going on, you're still getting sucked into it. And the next day, someone was like, oh, how did O'Malley win? I'm like, dude, he lost. They're like, what? He lost. I'm like,
Like
dude,
he's unbeatable.
it's very possible for him to lose.
Yeah.
Like, every time he gets in there, he could probably lose. You know what I mean? Like, also, like casuals are so shocked. They're not even interested enough to watch the fight or like go and see what happened.
Yeah.
But if they hear something, they're like, oh fuck, he lost. No ways. And I'm like, dude, it can't happen.
Also, the problem is that MMA want to have the same rating system as boxing, where it's like all about the record and shit like that. But then they also want to make it all about matchups. But it's like, if for instance if Canelo only had matchups, he would not be his record wouldn't look like it. Same with Mayweather. Mayweather was only matched up according to who was the best matchup for him from way in the beginning of his career. He wouldn't be unbeaten. I'll tell you that now.
Not guaranteed,
Because
bro.
why didn't you fight Manny Pacquiao 6 years ago?
Yeah.
When
in
he
his
was
prime,
murdering guys. There's a reason.
Yeah.
Because the record is what matters. And it's the same thing now with MMAs. Everyone's so fucking worried about the record, but then they're like, yeah, but who have you fought, bro? Who have you beaten? Tell me who you've beaten.
Isn't that the funniest thing? Where like I'm so skeptic now when I see someone arrive in the UFC at like 15-0.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, but
where you been, boy?
Yeah.
Where you been?
But I mean,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think in boxing, like Freddie Roach is probably one of the best examples of that happening, right? He was like 20-0,
Yeah.
and then he got fucking KO'd.
Yeah.
And that was the end of his career, right? He could never get back to a big fight, right? They just wouldn't. Once he had that one on his record.
one, bro. One loss.
And 20-1. It's like
Ridiculous,
fucking ratio
bro.
of winning, bro. Like,
Ridiculous. The same with Adrian Broner, bro. He was unbeaten for so long. He loses. Yeah, okay, he's a bit of a fucking doers outside of the thing. But
biggest.
But as soon as he lost, then everyone's like, oh, Adrian Broner's shit. Because then they took his personality, which they loved before, and now he's lost. Now he's like a doers. You know, it's like
But that's the thing, though. That's the X factor. You have to be winning. Like if you're
That's
playing
it.
that game,
That's
you have
it.
to be winning.
That's it.
If you look at Sean O'Malley, like Sean O'Malley's just fucking deteriorating now. The casuals will always be there, but like now I'm like, I can't fucking listen to this dude anymore. I'm like, dude, you can't speak like that after a loss.
no,
you just
bro.
can't.
Oh,
You just can't
I
do
haven't
that.
won.
Yeah.
I haven't lost mentally.
And then get stretched out. because
Okay,
your
bro,
fucking
yeah.
leg's sore.
That are-
I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire mentally as well, bro.
cooked, bro.
I earn Tesla mentally.
But like,
You're probably saying that because he is getting a big paycheck.
yeah, he is.
Exactly.
He is. But again, Rich, it's not going to mean anything. You cannot. You know, like it's always what got you to the dance. You know what I mean? If you go on a losing streak now, 3 fights, 4 fights, let's say for example, because now O'Malley's fucking blood in the water. Because now nobody's worried about that kid. Like it's very easy. I'm gonna get in his fucking face and I'm gonna smash you, bro.
No
'Cause he's
heart,
obviously
bro.
soft,
No
exactly. But look, because you've seen guys like Cejudo do it. Fight through something. I mean, when a guy like Cejudo fights through something like that, now you look at this kid and you're like, well, fuck, dude. Cejudo irritates the shit out of everybody, but he's still got the heart to get it done.
Yeah, he'll
you know
beat
what I
you,
mean?
yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So now you're on a slippery slope, but that's where the X factor is. If you're losing, nobody gives a fuck. You can't talk like that when you're losing. And again, like I'm not to keep going back to Conor, but that was where I think Conor won even more fans.
100%.
The way he took the loss, the way he handled the
Dominic
loss.
Cruz.
Yeah, Dominic Cruz. Look at guys like Stipe and DC. Okay, DC in his last fight, he obviously wasn't happy about the eye poke and stuff. But like, you shouldn't really be.
But what's fucked up is that he poked Stipe's eye in the
Yeah.
first fight and then knocked him out. And then it's like, oh, but you poked my eye and you beat me on the decision. It's like, yo, you poked my eye and knocked me the fuck out, bro.
But,
What's worse? What's
But
worse?
DC poked Stipe's eye
In
really
that
in the
fight,
fight.
yeah.
Yes, bro. Like it's like if I poke your eye and then knock you out, that's cuck. But if I poke your eye and beat you on decision, Okay, handle
And
it.
ZC is known for like having open
Yeah,
hands.
always does this.
Yeah.
Same as Jones.
Same as Jones, yeah.
Just the way you handle your loss is very important, I think,
Yes.
in MMA, especially at the top. Because everyone's watching and they want to see how you react. Is this the end of you?
But the
You know
way
what
you
I mean?
handle
Like,
any fuck up in MMA is
Yeah.
important. Right?
Yes.
Like you look at TJ, right? TJ fucked up. And he's
Owned
like,
it.
okay, cool.
Bro,
I
he
fucked
owned
up.
it.
I
Yeah.
fucked up. People
Nothing
forgot
happened.
about it.
Yeah, what do you say to him?
3
What do you
months
say
later,
to him?
people forgot about it, bro.
you
Everyone's like,
see-
I can't wait until TJ gets back.
Did you see
That's
there
how
was
it
a...
wins
And then you got John Jones,
Clean
who
juice.
denies, and people are, I watch John because he takes his comments off his posts all the time. Because every single time he posts something like lifting weights, it's just steroid needles.
Yeah.
Like, oh, just like a list of needles. And then you're like, fuck. Turn your comments off, rather, bro.
But we've said it, we've spoken about TJ so many times. Once you own that, nobody can say shit to you. What are you going to say to you? Like Rock was saying now, then he opened the fucking juice bar.
Yeah, clean juice.
I'm like,
Brilliant.
this is genius. dude.
Brilliant.
And then
Brilliant.
it seemed like how, like,
Gimmicks,
and now
bro.
he's like running with it. Whenever someone like drags him into a conversation and he's like, and you always like respond something funny. He's like, well, I'm still cleaner than John Jones or something like that.
Well, with
You're always like,
Mally
yeah.
was like, in my head I didn't win. He's like, yeah, in my head I didn't take drugs.
You know what I'm saying? What are you saying to that? There's nothing you can fucking say.
And guess what? He's gonna fight now.
Yeah, 100%.
Then he's gonna be back on top. And then
100%.
what? Then what
It's
you
good
gonna
at
say?
skills. People are like, oh, yeah, he's juicing. It's like, yeah, he's juicing, but
He's still training.
bro,
It works.
everyone in the top 5 is
Yeah.
fucking juicing.
Yeah, but
bro.
it's the same
There's not. Let's all like get something straight, bro. Just because there's USADA doesn't mean the guys that have money at the top, bro. If you're in Brazil and you got big money, and a guy comes to you, here's 10 grand. Fuck off. If you're Conor McGregor, who's a multi-millionaire, and you want to get tested, and they come, you be like, yo, go get fetch the piss out of my fridge, please. Here's 10 grand. Piss off.
But even you got the money to
Like,
pay
come
the
now,
doctors that
Oaks.
can stay ahead of the curve. You know?
Exactly.
You're like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Who's like the most advanced doctor in this area? And they'll just keep you ahead of the curve.
There's
bro.
a reason guys still
Like,
failing
what,
tests.
yeah.
There's a reason. It's not like USADA or suddenly made it clean. It's like, no, you just make guys cheat better.
Why are some certain guys getting tested 20 times in a year and one guy getting tested twice in a year?
Yes.
Who
Like,
makes us
what about
Yes.
like how good is USADA in Austria? Because like
Yeah.
take nothing away from Rakic, he's a beast. But like when I'm seeing this dude, even like running through the face with my wife's like, dude, fighters normally look like that.
Paulo Costa.
Like yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. Like we see the
Why,
favelas, dude.
why
how strong
is
USADA
Paulo Costa not at a major American camp?
Yeah.
Why is he still in Brazil, training in Brazil?
Yeah.
Tell me why. Why did Jose Aldo stay in Brazil for so many years? Tell me why, guys. And look like a fucking bodybuilder, bro. How does that happen? I get tested. How often do I get tested?
I think last year you got 12.
All the time. Look at me, bro. I don't look like a bodybuilder, bro.
testing for acai.
Jesus.
So South Africa's got like a WADA accredited like representative, right? But what happens when someone from the DRC signs that is in the DRC?
Yeah.
Like, there's no one accredited there. They're just gonna fucking get away with everything.
Exactly,
They're
bro.
gonna keep juicing.
Russia,
like, 2
bro.
weeks, 3, 4,
Russia.
yeah.
You think you're living in Russia, the oak is earning like maybe $10,000 a year
Yeah.
to be a tester. You're telling me now he's gonna come to someone that's earning US dollars, like a big money,
Yeah.
to come test, and he's not gonna be like, you know,
we're
hey, we're brothers here, we're fucking, you know, comrades, you know, here's some, you know, some, like that's the reality is that like that is happening all over.
Guys don't want to hear that.
And guys don't want to hear that. And then they like look at TJ getting caught and you're like, yeah, obviously, bro. Look at those titties.
Yeah.
You can see it. You can see them sticking. You look like it was on National Geographic. Yeah. Do you know what I mean, bro? And it's just like, oh, I'm so shocked TJ has been on steroids. Oh, you look at Paulo Costa, Yoel Romero, and you're like,
so shocked that Chad Mendes got busted by USADA.
jeez.
Look at the oak, bro.
Really?
He's got like such a
Guys,
high percentage of
was-
muscle mass.
That's
and he's got the
elk, that's
fucking
elk
cardio.
meat, bro.
Right.
That's elk meat. Just chill. That's elk meat.
That's the thing that's crazy is that they'll test. They're like so hectic about testing everybody, but then it's easy. Look at the people and be like, that's the one I'm gonna test.
Sniff test.
That's the one sniff test, bro. Easy. It's like if you go into a police lineup and there's a bunch of normal looking oaks and a dodgy looking cunt. You gotta question the dodgy looking cunt first.
Yeah.
Am I crazy? Am I crazy? if I look at 10 dogs, bro, and there's one massive yoked pit bull, I'm like, I don't want to pet that dog.
Yeah.
I'll pet the Yorkie.
But-
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
use your brain.
You go to shops and like some sketchy oak walks behind you and you like fucking hand on the wallet and you know, and you're like, and they're like, oh, you shouldn't do that. That's like profiling. No, it's not. He looks fucking dodgy. I don't want my wallet stolen, bro.
If I'm in the ocean and I see a shark, I'm not, like, what I'm going to judge the
sure
shark.
it's a friendly shark.
I got fucking prejudice against the shark. It's like, yeah, the shark bite people's legs off.
Let me wait for it to get you to what
Like,
shark it is.
let me find out what kind of shark it is. Maybe he's like a softie.
If you take like a general guy who's never watched MMA and you take the fight with Alessandro and Costa now,
Yeah.
who's he going to choose?
Costa
If he
all
just
day.
looks at them and goes, who's he going to choose?
Yeah.
Costa.
How hilarious are those memes with that chick from the sci-fi movie as Adesanya? Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, fuck! It's so funny.
It's an 80s show.
It's like a black chick with like kind of like a buzz cut from
yeah,
the
yeah.
80s, and she's like the skinned black chick. And then it was like fucking Paulo Costa, and like somebody more like hilarious, bro.
Dude, I like that guy. Yo, that guy's ridiculous. He's built like a fucking.
Imagine
Action figure.
imagine what went through Gareth's head when he saw Paulo the first time.
Uh,
you walk in there like.
I've actually
First of all, what went through Garrett's head when he was like, I'm gonna take that fight. I'm gonna go to Brazil in Rio and I'm gonna fight that thing on his debut.
He must be a Davidson.
Great idea.
The first time, they're like, oh.
Dude, I was that guy when I saw the Waynes, when I saw them go face to face. I was like, holy shit. I was like, I think Garrett should be fighting welterweight, bro. I was like, I don't know if this is the way he
Hey,
needs to
bro,
be. dude.
yeah.
That looks an animal.
No, bro, that's like, it's like, yo,
He's a beast.
no.
Walk, you're going to hit us with some questions.
some
Are you
questions.
going to find the meme
I
for
was
us?
trying to find that meme. Give me one sec. But they were brought out some stats about who gets tested the most. TJ was tested something stupid like 50 times.
I think it's Holly Holm, bro.
Doctors, baby.
Yeah,
Doctors,
she's
you
like the
see.
most
So
tested.
if you go to TJ's gym in California, remember we went there? They have a full science lab there, bro. They do bloods
In
every
the
week.
gym.
Bloods every week.
That's Coach Carl. Eh?
Yeah, and I'm just like, why?
Is that open? That's
It's Sam Calabito.
Why, bro?
He's still looking thick.
Why?
Thinking that I was thinking now.
Yes, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, now he's even bigger. He's like, what could I be?
It's like, let's just cut out the EPO. Let's just keep doing what we're doing, cutting out the EPO, and we're
I'm
cool.
out for 2 years. Hit me with the double dose, bro.
Also, this bullshit of these oaks retiring and then coming back, retiring, come back. It's like, yo, when you're retired, then you don't have to fucking get tested. And when you come back, you get put into the pool for 3 months.
Pride of New Zealand, bro.
Jeez.
Swipe, bro.
Jeez.
It's just the same as Chad. It was just eczema. That's the.
Yeah, I said rubbing
Oh,
it in.
eczema cream,
I always
yeah.
love that Oaks living like in a penthouse in New York. He's like, oh no, tainted meat. I'm like, from where, dude?
Yeah.
Did you eat a rat?
So I remember speaking to one of
Find the best meat available.
Exactly. I'm like, where did you get this tainted
one
meat
of the
from?
guys in Team Alpha Male. He used to like live in South Africa. He used to go to Sandown High School. And I was chatting to him, and he was like just talking about like he was doing Chad's diet for a while. He was like, Chad eats like 6,000 calories a day. He's got the highest like cardio, and you're like, you start thinking about it. You're like, how does this like do it, bro? Like it's impossible. You can't eat 6,000 calories, train like 3 or 4
And your
times
levels
a day.
must stay up.
Yeah. I
Buddy,
was like,
I've tested all of that stuff, going up to 8 sessions in a day. You cannot physically do that type of work without affecting your hormones and
No, it's
fucking your system
No,
up
sir, you
and
cannot.
getting injured. That's a bit. How do they do that and not get injured?
Bro,
100%.
when I'm in camp, bro, and I start losing weight, bro,
Yeah.
like, some mornings I wake up and I'm just like, fuck this, I don't want to go. I don't want to train.
Well, then like
This is cuck, I feel like shit.
that last hard week when someone like grabbed you with the body
Oh,
lock.
dude, and you're just like, Oaks, come on, bro, I've done enough of this.
Yeah, please stop.
Just chill. And then the Oak's like, yeah, this is my time to get you, boy. Like, fuck, you 10 kilos down. Yeah. Trying to fight this guy looking like the, what's it, the machinist or whatever. What's that?
Yeah.
Like,
Zombie.
yeah, dude.
We have fat amounts of questions.
Yeah, let's. Some of them are like repeats, so we can kind of. There's a lot of the same question.
I'm just gonna start from the beginning. That's right.
I don't know how these dudes wore these things in Abu Dhabi.
Hot.
I don't know how they did it. I sat next to 150 of them. 3 chairs, dude. And they wore these things.
When it's Khabib time, they don't care.
Yes, man.
Okay. First one's from Callum. I don't know what his surname is. I don't think it's
Callum,
Murray.
it's Callum CPT, I think. Callum at Callum CPT.
Cool. So he wants to know, how's your relationship with JP, and why do teammates fall out? Is it
Looks
all
like a
just
bit of
false
drama.
pretenses or what?
Or like there was no falling out. It was like he left South Africa, and you know, I mean that's it. He left South Africa, and life carries on. You know, like the reality is that like there's been lots of teammates that have left that I don't talk to every day. You know, like it's like it's just part of what happens, you know. Like there's like friends of mine, like actual like close friends of mine that I don't speak to for like months, and then
Sometimes I don't even speak to my mother for months.
bro, exactly, bro. And it's just like, do I hate the people that I don't talk to? No, it's just like what? Like,
don't you think like people just don't understand that like you guys are on like the same trajectory when you're training together, you're both trying to get into
Yes.
the UFC, and then it's like easy to be like together all the time,
Yes.
and do shit
It
together
is.
all the time.
Yes.
But when one person like changes his trajectory, it's difficult to like.
Dude, it's,
Exactly.
That's one part of it. The other part of it is just like everybody at some point gets sucked into their own life,
Yes.
and that's like a four-wall life. Whatever's
Yes.
inside your four walls, whether that may be work, home, gym, whatever it is, you get sucked into those kind of situations. And it's not that you don't care for somebody. Like the next thing you look up, and 3 months have gone by, and you're like, oh, fuck, I actually haven't spoken to XYZ. You know what I mean? It's not like that you don't give a shit. It's
and
just
I
that's
spoke
what's
to him
happening,
like
you know?
3 weeks ago, I think, like 3 weeks ago when he was gonna fight that thing, and I still said like, I have the message, and I was like, I'm always gonna support your fucking career,
Yeah,
like
100%, bro.
always gonna support the career, because I've watched him come from like being a kid to now possibly being in the UFC, you know. So like you see a guy grow, so like you always have that attachment.
Yeah.
But again, like if someone's not here, they're not here. Like it's one of those things, and it's I'm also not the type of guy that's on the phone to someone every week.
Yeah,
Ask Rich.
I
Rich-
don't talk to Don. I talk to him when I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like we're sitting there texting each other all day. Like fucking, you know.
I was saying the same thing actually about you, and I was like, if I want to speak to Don on a Wednesday, I miss him on Monday.
Yes.
And I'm not, and if you don't reply, I'm not gonna be like, oh fuck, he didn't reply.
Also, I know his personality.
Exactly, but it's
Like,
and that's like it's the same like
But why must he get punished for his personality? Like, I know if I message him, if he's not going to respond, like, it's not.
One of those things.
But it's just
bad.
but I don't even know if you're the same. If you
I'm
know
the
that you're the
same,
same.
yeah, I'm
It's
the
not that
same.
you want to reply. I'll ask you like 4 questions and you'll say okay. I'll be like, okay, I'll go.
Yeah,
I'll
his
go
mind's
speak,
not here.
I'll go speak to
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I know if I want to speak to him, I
I'm
must
very
see.
bad with messages,
No, but
and I
but
think
that's,
Don's the same.
that's who you are.
Yeah.
There's no like
Like you said, I don't.
people end up
I
taking
don't
that
talk
kind
to
of
my
stuff
mom.
personally. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, my mom gets pissed off with me all the time because like I don't call her enough, you know. Like that's what like I've friends as well that like now they understand because they've been around me long enough to understand that like this is how I am, you know. I'm not like, bro, when's the last time I picked up phoned you?
No, 100%, bro. But it doesn't.
When I
change
see you,
anything.
it's not like, hey, bro, like I haven't heard from you in months. You
Yeah,
know? It's like, hey, what's up, bro? Nice to see you again. Let's chain. You
I
know?
got dropped in it yesterday. Like, I was at my brother's house and my mom phoned my brother and he puts it on speakerphone. And he's like, yo, Warren's also here. She's like, Warren, you haven't spoken to me in like 3 months. I'm like, no, I'm sure I spoke to you like 3 weeks ago. And while I'm on the call, I like looked at my phone and I'm like, eesh.
Hey.
Like, in March, bro. Like,
I know, bro. I mean, fuck,
was locked up.
life happens, dude. Life happens,
bro,
bro.
it's just that thing.
Yeah,
I wasn't
things do
someone for
happen.
the phone, bro. Like,
Exactly.
And that's not
Hate
your
the phone.
personality, like you said. Is that not your personality? That's not your
Bro,
personality.
if I can avoid a phone call, I'll do everything I can to avoid a phone call. I hate phone calls. I don't know why. Like, I just like, if you really want to talk to me, come. You know where I'm here every day. Come to sit here and talk to me. And the reason that we have like voice notes and text is to avoid that, so we don't have to pick up the phone and phone. You know, I'll pick up the phone and phone you if it's your birthday, or if I really have to discuss something.
I fucking hate getting phone calls.
Me too, dude. I'm just like, please just send me a text.
Yeah, I don't want
Like,
to act surprised.
Thank you.
Bro.
Exactly. I'll be like, thanks for the call. Like,
And on the same token, I don't get offended if people don't phone.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's like whatever.
But it's the same, like, I don't know if I want to come and talk to Rich about something that's going to take longer than 12 seconds, I'm like, the best bet is for me to come here and just talk to him because that's just the way it is.
So
Don't
much
be like,
easier.
"Fuck this guy,
Face to
reply."
face, bro.
Just talk to him.
That's the way.
I know it, but like, you can't get upset about it. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
people
Sorry,
like,
Al.
No. I know certain people, like, when I talk to my dad, for sure don't send him a message because it's going to come back in broken pieces. Like, you know, my dad's been around a long time, but he hasn't had a phone his whole life. He doesn't know what's going on. But he's just like, why the fuck does this thing work, you know? Call the guy, you're going to get the conversation sorted out. You know, that's how it is. Like,
Yeah, there's certain guys like you know, like, okay, if I want to speak to this guy, pick up the phone and call him.
Yeah.
Because that's the only time I'm gonna get a hold of him, you know?
100%.
Me, everyone listening, don't call me. Do not call me. Just send me a text and maybe I'll reply.
So I think it was like
Maybe.
someone was trying to get a hold of you. They were asking me. It was like Super Sport or somebody, and they're like, "Do you have Don's number?" I'm like, "Let me just ask him if I can give him his number out first." I'm like, "Send him a message on Instagram and give it about 5 days." I kind of need it like end of the week. I'm like, I can't help you.
And anyone that knows me, like, they'll know, like, if you send me a message on Instagram, it might take me, like, I replied to a guy from like a year ago. at the time. It might take me a year, but I will reply eventually. You know what I mean? You will get the reply eventually. But fuck, don't, like I like to operate on my own time, bro.
We really want. It was CS actually. That's who it was. I was like,
CS,
I was like, just drop him a message on Instagram and give it 5 days. 5 to 6 days. Should be okay.
6, 7, 8
I don't
days
know
is good.
I know, bro. It's not like it's not the best trait, but fuck, it's me. So.
Yeah, we should all be.
Okay, next one from Zahir. Have you ever thought about immigrating to the USA so that you could be there and get more fights? And who would you like to fight next?
To Zahir, if you're an immigration attorney and you want to give me fucking visas and shit for free,
Let's go.
let's do it. So that's pretty much the answer. Is that like everyone's like, oh, go move to America, like.
Oh yeah, cool.
Okay, yeah, that's very easy. You have a
just
South
get-
African passport.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go move to America. Yeah, no problem. Let me just go there and just move and like. So it is easy in a way because of the UFC and because I'm contracted to an American company. But there's like a lot of things that come with it. Like if I move to America, I can't make money at all. I can only make money through fighting.
Yeah.
So like that becomes difficult. So like my main source of income now is coaching. So I coach a lot. You know, I coach like every single day, and that's like my main source of income. That's why like I don't stress about fighting for money, and I don't stress about like too many sponsors and stuff like that, because the guys that want to work with me will eventually work with me. And I'm not gonna like suck anyone's dick to get a fucking sponsor, you know what I mean? Like I'm not that guy. You'll never see me selling out. I'll never sell out. You'll never see me fucking like, hey guys, use this thing, it's fucking cool. Like, nah, I'm not that guy, bro. I'm not Paige Van Zandt, you know what I mean? Like I'm not that guy, and I'm never gonna be that guy. And that's
Just as pretty though.
I know.
She's not gonna be that pretty for much longer.
Yeah,
bro.
dude.
Trying to bare knuckle is a bad move.
That's
bro.
a terrible idea.
What are you doing? Like,
That's like-
you only like. I don't want to be an absolute dick to her, but you're only famous because of how you look, right? You're like one of the prettiest MMA fighters that have
mean,
ever
yeah.
come, right?
And
now
you,
you're gonna
and
go
you got
into
a few
sport.
wins together at
Yeah,
a point.
Against like
she didn't like steamroll
Yeah,
anyone
yeah.
notable.
Rose beat the fucking brakes off her. Dude, Jesus.
Now you're gonna go into a sport where everyone's coming out fucked
Yeah,
up. Like,
Paycheck, bro.
Paycheck.
Not even
$1 million.
that,
She
dude.
got
Like,
$1
it's
million.
not
There
even
you
that.
go.
I feel
Paycheck.
like she's, and she kind of hinted at it. She's kind of like, she wants to prove everybody wrong. I'm like, who?
she's not even a fucking boxer, bro.
Bro, she makes so much money outside of fighting. Like, what are you trying to like
And that
prove?
wasn't that.
That's what she said.
That's what the whole issue with
Yeah.
the UFC was.
Does she not have an OnlyFans page?
I'm sure she does, dude. Have you seen all like the naked photos of her and like her husband? What the fuck is going on there, bro? That's weird.
Upside down.
Nah, it's weird,
I
dude.
feel like he's the guy. He's like, you should fight bare knuckle boxing. And she's like, you're damn right.
Tell them about the thing you sent us today.
Which one? Well, you have to be more specific. Mike Tyson and Castamano. What are we talking about? You know how that actually started? Like, we've had a good
What
laugh
is this
about
shit?
it.
What is OnlyFans?
Yo, dude, I don't.
It's
I'm
like
not
a
100%
subscription.
I'm not 100%
It's like
sure
a
I
Twitch
understand
service
how it
kind of
works.
thing, but age restricted.
Well, Rourke knows a little bit more than that.
Ah,
I don't
check.
think it does have
So
to be.
you can be anything, right?
So you can become an online porn star, basically.
Oh,
But
nice.
you could also be like, I think you could also be like
Or porn
a
star,
MMA
maybe.
coach, and you can do tutorials on there.
Ah,
But people like
I see.
subscribe to see your content.
It's mostly naked chicks.
Makes sense.
It's mostly naked chicks, though.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah,
That's what
that's
like
like the
most of the
easiest thing
internet
to sell.
is.
So
like-
what's her name?
Alice.
Yeah, Alice Onlian, who was here for the fighters, obviously started OnlyFans.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Rourke says it's gotten quite raunchy. I don't know.
I'm sure Rourke knows. Nice, bro.
Obviously, someone was obviously giving her shit about it, or like, I don't know. It was like quite this whole like series, but I only sent them the money part. I was like, look how much fucking money this chick's making, dude.
You know
She
what's
made,
crazy?
she made in 2 months, from the 2nd of July to the 7th of September.
COVID times.
Yeah, dude.
11,000 US dollars, 2,000 to OnlyFans, and 9,000 was hers. She's earning 75,000 rand a month on the subscription service, right?
What? You know.
She would have had to fight in the EFC 10,
100
Million
12,
times.
13 times over like 6 years to like get that money.
Bro, there's a lot of jerking off in fucking lockdown.
That's COVID-19 money right
That's what
there.
happened, dude. That's what happened, bro.
But she was kind of trying to say that like she's using that to fuel her MMA career. Like,
It makes
Hey.
sense. Look, every single thing,
She's doing it smart then.
every single social media thing gets
No, I'm not judging, bro. I'm like, do what
made
you
into
need
a
to do.
sex thing.
Yeah.
You know, every single social media thing gets made into a sex thing. Instagram, who are the most famous people on Instagram? tits and ass out.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Go on Twitter, who's got the most followers? Tits and ass out. If you go on Snapchat, who's got the thing? Tits and ass out. Unless you're Drake. But I mean, like, that's fucking Drake. But like,
it's
most
either-
of the
it's either
people that you
start a
don't
church or
know,
get some stuff
it's
like
just
Yeah.
ass out. Like, that's all it is, bro. And it's just like,
anytime you hit search and it's just like chicks on
and
the
then that person now is a qualified nutritionist to tell you what you must eat.
yeah.
And they're a qualified psychologist,
Psychologist.
so they can be like, yeah, I felt a bit, like a little bit down today, so I suggest you guys do this. And everything becomes like that, bro. Everything becomes like that. Like, no matter what, even like WhatsApp becomes like that, bro. You know, it's just like,
So from Justin, how many fights left on your UFC contract? Who would you realistically like to fight next? And second question, would you move to Bellator if the opportunity arose?
so I've got 2 more fights on my current contract, and then so trying to get that one done as quick as possible. And then as far as who I'd like to fight, I mean, realistically, I would really like to fight Stephen Ray, just because he's such a little bitch and he keeps running away. But I would like to
You
fight.
know what's going to be the promo for this show.
Yeah. No, well, like I would like to fight him, just not because like I think like he's a challenge or whatever. It's more just because he said he wants to fight me and now he doesn't want to fight me. So I'm like, well, don't say you want to fight me and then you don't want to fight me and then look like a little fucking, you know.
100%.
You know what I mean? So I would like to fight him just because like where we
Still
are
there,
in
yeah, there's still something
our
there.
rankings, it's kind of like makes sense. Michael Johnson, I would love to fight Michael Johnson. He's also kind of not in the top 20. You know, someone that's like been in the top 20 but not in the top 20 anymore, that I can get a good win over. Anyone like that. Obviously, if I could fight someone in the top 20 and get paid top 20 money, for sure, that's I'd fight anyone, you know. But and then as far as Bellator, look, I'm always gonna go to where I feel like is the best for my career. So like right now, UFC is obviously the pinnacle.
Yeah.
So if you can make it in the UFC, then you can pretty much make it in any other organization. But again, like if we're negotiating contracts and Bellator comes and they say we've got a much better contract for you, I mean obviously like it makes sense, right? If they come and they say we're gonna pay you double what you're gonna get paid there, we're like, okay, sweet, cool, no problem. But
Fucking good show. Like,
and look, if you're a world champion, ONE FC, you're world champion Bellator, you're world champion at UFC, you're a world champion. It's not like
legit.
guys they can't fight. They
Well,
can
guys
all
move from
fight.
one to the other and do well and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Eddie Alvarez.
So it's not necessary. And Eddie Alvarez was champion of the UFC and he got smoked by someone, bro. So like you got to also think like, hey, you know, you never really know.
you look at someone like Michael Chandler, he'd do work in the UFC.
Yeah, dude.
You like,
Only problem with him is all that fucking Mexican stuff, bro. I don't know.
Fish and veg.
I don't know,
Fish and
bro. I don't know, dude.
Eczema cream.
Yeah, and you know like how
Yeah,
funny it was?
dude,
Like, it was
I don't
like,
know.
Michael Chandler, and then someone was like, how do you think he's going to fare against USADA?
Yeah. That's gonna be his biggest enemy, I think, is
why do
USADA,
you think
bro.
Michael Chandler hasn't come across?
Yeah.
And also, you know how much money Oak's making at Bellator, bro? Come now, dude. Oak's making, well, he was. He's not with Bellator anymore. But I think he's gonna go to ONE FC, to be honest.
Don's on a tight shit here, so it's...
Oh, yeah.
maybe.
I just got a coach.
Okay, from Zach. Okay, question for Don. How does a perfect 2021 look like for your career?
So 2021 would be getting 3 fights in the year. Breaking into the top 15 would be like great. So maybe like if I could get someone just outside of the top 20 for my next one, and then the following one in the top 20, and then be able to break the top 15 after that fight, then my following fight, that would be great. To be able to go 6-0 or 5-0 in the UFC would be amazing. You know, I'd be the only guy fucking ever from Africa to do that. Oh yeah. I don't know. That's
Oaks get very upset when you don't.
Yeah, but I mean, like he went to college in America. And he
I mean, if you don't mention his name,
Hey dude, I always say this, like if you can be born somewhere, but where are you training to get the skills that you get? So like if you're born in South Africa but then you move to America to get your skills, then you're not representing South Africa anymore. You're representing the skills that you learned in America.
Yeah,
So it's one thing if you are skilled already and then you move and then you like make you still, and you can still, then you can still represent. But if you were like a kid when you left your native land, and then you go and learn, and then you want to try and like ride off the fucking thing. Like,
I think like
shut
someone
up.
like Francis Ngannou is a clear example, right?
Yes.
He was born in Cameroon, went to France, transitioned to the UFC from France. Now he's a representative of France. Like people
Yes.
are like talking about like how he grew up in Cameroon.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, he got built up in
France,
right?
exactly.
And it
100%.
seemed for the longest time that he would, like, in a way, almost rather headline a card in France as opposed to Cameroon. It's just the way it is, you know.
Yeah. I mean, well, like, yeah, realistically, you know, and I just can't stand like this whole. It feels like everyone's trying to like use the African continent as like a way to get more fans, and it's just like,
Look how hard it was for him.
yeah, like how hard was it? It was half your parents, motherfucker. It wasn't half of you. It was half your parents. You know, your parents did that shit, not you. You know, and like, so I always think like if you living in like the Congo or Nigeria and you train there, and then you get it, and you get a win in the UFC or you become something in the UFC, then I'm like, yo, that's a serious dude. Now, if he can move to a camp where he can get refined, deadly. And that's just like how it is. But if you never learned anything where you are, maybe you like a little bit of kickboxing or whatever, but you were never like cultivated at all. Then you move, you're nothing. And then you want to go there, now you want to put your flag on your back. It's like, okay, bro, whatever. We know what you're doing. That's like me. I have Irish and Portuguese descent. That's like me now. When I fight, putting an Irish flag on my back and being like, Ireland! Like, no, I'm from South Africa. I trained in South Africa. I was developed in South Africa. It's like me now wearing a Thai flag on my back and be like, oh, because I lived in Thailand, I was fighting in Thailand, I'm Thai. Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You are not. Sorry.
Okay, I think he has one more, dude.
Cool. This is Alice question.
Yeah, it's not.
This guy's name is Chili.
Chili.
Question for Don. What weight do you walk around at when you're not eating?
Sensitive subject,
It depends.
I like that.
Saturday?
It depends. Yeah, it depends on what day. It depends on what day.
Which day? On a Sunday.
No, so like I've like in lockdown I got up to like 89 kgs, which was pretty big. But all I was doing was lifting weights and eating. So like,
You didn't look like a fucking slob.
no, I wasn't like fat. Like I never really get like, well, sometimes I don't really get like fat, you know. But like right now I'm about 84, 83. Like depends on the day. But I can get up to 88 pretty quickly. But I don't. But if I'm training constantly, I'm like 81, 80 most of the time.
Sometimes even like you get to 78, bro.
Well, like before lockdown, I was 78, and I was eating what I wanted, but I was training all the time, non-stop, and I was like in a good routine. And so like lockdown set me back a little bit because I gained a bit of muscle. So like obviously I'm a bit more heavier than I was before.
So featherweight's out.
Fuck, bro. No. If I change, I'm going up. I'm only going up, dude. Definitely not cutting any more weight. I'll tell you that. Hey, shut up, man. Come on. We're compromised, yeah.
Is there one more? You can squeeze one more if it's a fast one. It's
There were
long-winded.
lots of repeat questions.
Yeah.
What inspired the mullets?
I don't know. I've always had like different types of hairstyles, just because like so again, like I hate being like the sellout. So like when I came into the EFC, everyone was like, oh, model, yeah, you know, and like talking about like looks and shit, and like I was like, I don't want to be marketed off looks or whatever. I want to be marketed off because I can fight. And it's the same thing now. Like I don't want to be these guys that go with their fresh haircuts and like looking like suave to go fight. And it's like, I don't care what I look like when I fight. I want to look like a scrap. And you must watch how I fight. Don't look at how pretty I look. Watch me fight.
So pink mohawk is not a big question.
So like, well, like, yeah. So like the mullet was kind of just like, I'm gonna look as fucking white trash as possible. But then you guys are gonna look at how I fight and be like, holy shit, this guy's clean. You know, technician. Like he's a technical guy. He's not like, he is not a mullet.
Yeah.
He looks like a mullet, but he's not a mullet. And that's kind of like the idea that I was doing. It's the same with like the nails. It's like, I'm gonna do stuff that makes you think that I'm a certain way, but then when you're in front of me, it's a different story.
And also, if you get beaten by a guy who's got painted nails,
Hey,
it's gonna
bro,
be cuck.
it's not a good look. Not a good look for you.
It's gonna be very cuck. Anyways, Thank you guys. Thank you, Rich, for your
50th episode.
50th episode, bro. I'm not good at maths, but that's this is
That's
very
good, bro. That's good.
The boys don't get cold in Russia. Thank you guys. Hopefully this
Don't get hot in Russia.
Yeah, they don't get hot. Hopefully this COVID shit's all over and we can fucking see you out there because I know people are dying. It's like the most asked question. I'm like, dude, like two things here. If Don had a fight, he would have told us.
Yeah.
And you would know. If I had news on it, I would tell
Yeah.
you. Like, please stop asking me. Like,
Well,
I wouldn't
If
keep
guys
it a
can
secret.
fight, they would be fighting.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wouldn't keep
exactly.
it a secret. You know what I'm
The
saying?
thing is,
And it wouldn't be chilling here. Like, it's,
having it like this way is good. You know, people are wanting to see me fight. So like the more, if I was fighting like every 2 months, guys would be like, oh, Don's fighting again. You know? But now everyone's like, when is Don fighting? So when I fight, you motherfuckers are all going to be watching and I appreciate it.
100%. Thank you guys. Chat to you soon. Peace.